Could we see a blockbuster trade where Kyle Pitts gets dealt during the NFL draft? Welcome on into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here, talking about a topic that's been hot and cold over the last couple of months, but ESPN put out a couple of trade ideas for the first round of the draft, and one of them included Atlanta dealing Kyle Pitts to the New York Jets. Now, in exchange for Pitts going to the Jets, Atlanta would get their 7th overall pick, and New York would get Atlanta's 15th overall pick. So essentially, it's Kyle Pitts to move up 8 spots in the draft. Now, there's a trade value chart out there that assigns a number value to every single pick. So if you want to trade up to the 5th overall pick in the draft, you need to have 1,500 draft currency, right? And so you look at the other picks you have and you see if they add up to 1,500. Well, when you do 7 minus 15 from the trade value chart, it spits out the 45th overall pick in the draft. So if the Jets had that, you essentially could just do Kyle Pitts for pick number 45, which if a team called for Kyle Pitts and said, we'll give you the 45th pick in the draft, I'm not going to say we all agree on this, but I think a lot of us would go, okay, deal, right? We'll think it over a little bit, but it's likely going to result in, yes, we accept this trade. Personally, as much as I've advocated for trading Kyle Pitts, given his role on this team decreasing and the price tag on him for his 5th-year option, I would actually only do this deal mid-draft. I think I'd want to see how the board is going and who's falling and who's taken before I make this trade. Because if you make this trade before the draft begins, you might get to pick number 7 and realize, wow, the player we were hoping was going to be here isn't anymore. A little bit of a surprise. Well, it's the NFL draft. You should expect the unexpected. And now we're going to pick the guy that we were kind of looking at as our backup and watch that guy be available in another universe at pick 15, and we could have had Pitts and the same player. So here is my top 10 players for the draft. And it's in order, right? Not just like by positional value, but who I think is going to have a good career and whatnot. So Abdul Carter and Ashton Jeanty and Travis Hunter are my top 3. Then I have Tyler Warren at number 4, Mason Graham at 5, Cam Ward at 6. I'll just say right now, I don't have a ton of confidence in like 5 through 10 really being guys that we look back at as, wow, those are some perennial Pro Bowlers. I just think it's not a very top-heavy draft class. It doesn't have a bunch of the heavy hitters. So someone's got to round out the top 10, but I'll put it on record right now. I don't have a ton of faith in some of these guys in the top 10. So with that being said, I feel like there would only be 2 players worth making a mid-draft trade up for, and that would be Abdul Carter or Mason Graham. Let's start with Carter. Just kind of spitball here for a second. Freelance. What if the first overall pick is the Cam Ward to the Titans? That's kind of expected. And then we see the Browns go with Shedeur Sanders, and the Giants take Travis Hunter. And then after that, you've got the Patriots who maybe select Armand Membou to beef up their offensive line. And so far, Abdul Carter continues to slide. And the Jags at 5 go, well, we've already got Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. So we're kind of good at edge rusher. Let's add Mason Graham to the interior. And now Atlanta's sitting there going, holy smoke, we need an edge rusher like we need water in the Sahara. And it's pick number 6. He's still on the board. If he gets past this spot right here, let's blow up some cell towers in New York and get a deal done. And in this situation, the Falcons pull off one of the greatest draft heists for a team that desperately needs an edge rusher, gets the consensus number 1 pass rusher at pick number 7, and all it cost them really was Kyle Pitts on the last year of his rookie deal, who's been going downhill since his rookie season. Tell me not everyone would agree to this in a heartbeat. But of course, that's contingent on Abdul Carter being there. There's a very real possibility the Browns take him at number 2. That's why I don't want to do this trade pre-draft, because now you move up and you're all excited. Pick 7 rolls around, you're like, damn it. Carter's gone. I don't know why we thought he'd be here. And Mason Graham goes to the Jags like he does in every single mock draft. So if one of these 2 guys slip, like what if the Jags just throw a wrench at us and, I don't know, they're the Jags. They do a lot of dumb stuff. They take like a wide receiver, pair him with Trevor Lawrence, and Mason Graham is there, and you go, well, this is a great way to replace Grady Jarrett. I wouldn't even say replace. I mean, no disrespect to, Falcons legend here, but an upgrade from what you got out of the last 2 seasons from Jarrett. You take the number 1 interior guy who's got some good pass. Well, I'm not going to say good pass rush upside. 1.5 of his 3.5 sacks came in 1 game in September against Minnesota. But, man, when he's on, he is on. And he can gobble up offensive linemen. He can stop the run. He is going to be a force for a team in the middle of their defensive line for the next decade. So if one of those 2 players fall, I'm interested. If not, I don't know if you have to really give up Kyle Pitts to secure Mike Green or Will Johnson. There's a fair shot they could be there at 15. Now, it's not super common for starters to get dealt during the draft. The last time we saw, if memory serves correct, was Marquise Brown when he got traded from the from the Ravens to the Cardinals back in 2022. That also sprung on before this was the A.J. Brown trade. So 5 picks prior to that, we saw A.J. Brown get traded to Philly for a first-round pick and a 4th-round pick, and that was a disaster by the Tennessee Titans. Imagine being a Titans fan, like their run of first-round picks as of late. I mean, Treylon Burks, flop. The Georgia offensive lineman, Isaiah Wilson, flop. Caleb Farley, flop. So tough time in Nashville. But, yeah, the point being, it's not out of the realm of possibility for a starter to get traded. It's not super common. I'm not going to try and pass this off as, oh, we see this all the time. But I could see a team like the Jets going, hey, we can get Pitts, and if they believe he still is that unicorn that we saw at Florida and move back just a few spots in round 1, we walk away from the draft with 2 starters out of round 1 instead of 1. It may not be the worst idea in the world for New York. So if we don't see Atlanta trade up, I think there are 3 players you are just praying. You are applying your faith to all the gods in the world. You're looking up Hindu gods. There's like millions of them, and you pray to every single one, and you hope that one of these 3 players is there at 15. These are right now my top 3 guys for Atlanta. In order, Will Johnson, number 1. I can't shake that. Then Jalen Walker at 2. There it is. And then Mike Green at number 3. I'm not going to put too much stock in Johnson or Walker. These are our dream schools. It's good to have dreams. Not all dreams come true. It's not a Disney movie. So Mike Green, I'm not going to say is a safe bet to be there at 15, but gun to my head, if I don't want to have my brains across the wall, if I had to pick one that will be there, I would select Green in terms of probability of falling halfway through round 1. And I think this would be a very stout and strong pick for the Falcons. You're getting someone who has great production and has great athletic traits. It's not very common we see someone. Now, the athletic trait side, I will add, all of his testing came from his pro day. Pro day numbers, I don't want to say throw out the window, but there's a little bit of a hometown bias. I think it's Ohio State. Their 40-yard dash is really a 39.5-yard dash. You know what I mean? Each school kind of has a little bit of a quirk to it of, oh, I didn't know this was downhill. Oh, wow, didn't see that one coming. So Mike Green, though, falls in a great bucket of ton of production and very good testing. And I'm going to look it up and display it on another episode, and I should have done it for today. But when you get that Venn diagram and the people in the middle, they're all incredible players at the next level. So I feel very confident about Mike Green being a good football player. The only question is, do the Falcons have a problem or concern with not 1 but 2 sexual assault allegations against him from high school and college? I don't want to diminish that, but we've also seen a lot of pro athletes have allegations tossed their way. Remember punt god, Matt Ariza? That huge story came out of him at San Diego State, and then it was kind of fabricated. And it cost him a year in the pros. And it's happened to a lot of other athletes, and there's plenty of examples of those allegations being true. So I know this has kind of been a roundabout segment here, but I'm not going to toss someone off my board because of allegations. I just don't think that's fair to them. I think there should be some level of research and investigation done to see if there's any substantial evidence supporting these allegations. So, who do you think will fall to the Falcons at 15? If you had to make the pick right now, not what you want, but just what does your gut tell you? My gut tells me Roger Goodell is going to walk up and dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, and he's going to go with the 15th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Atlanta Falcons select Mike Green, Defensive end, Marshall. And for a team that desperately needs pass rush help, I think that's going to be well accepted. I know that the Falcons have liked to go offense in round one historically, and last year they threw a curveball at us, so who's to say they won't do that again? But I feel confident this year that they're going to be kind of chalk and just go with the pass rusher. Now the question is which pass rusher, and I think Mike Green is not a consensus, but across the board, higher up for most people than Mykel Williams or James Pierce. But last year, that was the case with Dallas Turner, and we all know how that worked out for me. But he also wasn't even the first pass rusher selected. It was Laiatu Latu from UCLA to the Colts. Okay, before we sign off, I do want to pick a commenter from our video yesterday just to get 2 claps. So make sure to comment on all of our videos, and you could see your name on our little wheel spin here. So let's spin that wheel, see who's going to be our viewer of the day. Big special shout out going to Reese or R-E-E-S. Reese, 2 claps for you. 1, 2. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you have not subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Click that like button, and I will see you all in a few short hours because we have our live show today. So, Trucker Mike, look forward to hanging out with you then.